Okay. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about challenges that change us. So I'm really excited about this topic in particular. I know it's not holiday related, but this is something that applies all year long because these are the things that really help us change. When we are able to address challenges face on, head on, and 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 believe in ourselves to do it. So, okay, I worked the belief thing in there. Okay, believe in ourselves enough to do it, then we can create sustainable change for ourselves. Now, if you think about urges, for example, urges or cravings are the biggest, I think the biggest problem in the beginning stages of going alcohol free. If you were to frame that differently and think about the urge or the craving as an opportunity to unwind your habit, then all of a sudden things change. You know, that challenge that is addressing you right in the moment, that feeling of restlessness or I just need it. If you view that as here is an opportunity for me to get stronger, then all of a sudden it changes. My coach for Castillo she's got a great phrase. She actually started off as a weight loss coach, and her phrase when she's talking to clients who want to lose weight is, when you have hunger pains, consider those hunger pains like eating in. Basically, your body is going to your fat stores and eating those rather than going to Chick-fil-A or whatever it is. So I like to think of that the same way with urges. Like that urge right there is telling you that that's your primitive brain telling you that it wants you to do something. But every time you sit with that urge, you get stronger. And each and every time that unwinds the habit. And so it gets us that much closer to being free. Okay, I do have some slides I want to share. Okay, everybody see that? I think so. Okay, cool. Okay, challenges that change us. That's what we're going to talk about today. First, I want to start off with my journey. Let me assure you, I am not a unicorn at all. And I'm going to take you through a number of big milestones. But I tell you this because just because I'm alcohol free right now does not mean that there's something special about me by any stretch of the imagination. I grew up as a drinker. I mean, I think I started drinking when I was about 13 years old. That was part of my identity, no question. I loved being the kind of bad girl, or sorry, the straight A student who would still go out and party, the instigator, getting everybody to play drinking games, all that kind of stuff. Definitely. So the fact that I can do this, I share that because I have been able to do this. I'm so much happier on this side, but it's not because I'm a unicorn. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit more about my journey. I already started I started drinking when I was young. 2013 and 2014. 2013, my husband had some health issues. He had some issues with his heart. Everything's fine now, but at the time it was very scary. Right on top of that, my brother committed suicide in 2014. Again, very difficult time for me and for my family. And I started drinking pretty heavily. That was my coping mechanism. I'd been a drinker before, but I would say that this marked a difference. It changed for me when some of these events happened. Then it became more of a stress release. It became a coping mechanism versus just I'm going out to party. In August of 2016, I remember that date so well because that was my last hangover. Okay. I was on a work trip and I drank way too much, totally made a fool out of myself, I feel like. Woke up the next morning and said, this is ridiculous. Like, forget it. I was in London. I couldn't even get out of bed, wasted the whole day. I found This Naked Mind at that point. And I actually, at that point, Annie was giving the book away. She downloaded it for free. I think I had Kindle. I got it on my Kindle or something. And I read the entire book on the way home from London to the US. I was drinking my red wine while I was reading it, but I did read the whole book. And that did start me on the path. Again, I said that was my last hangover. So I'm pretty cool. It's pretty cool to think about it, how long it's been at this point. So that's kind of fun. I did continue to drink. I found the life coach school in the early 2017. And that's where I started actually leveraging the thought work, the mindset work to basically to stop over drinking. So I had This Naked Mind as the science, and then I also had the additional mindset work, which helped me. And so that really changed my life for sure. I started my, oh, this is a funny one. So I'm going to back up a little bit. I didn't have enough milestones, so I'll tell you this. I was moderating. I successfully moderated. I was happy with that. But I will also say that my husband and I decided to do a dry January in 2020. And he made it. I made it to about day 10. I was like, I'll forget it. I'll just drink. So, I was moderating, but I still wasn't all the way. I wasn't all the way alcohol free for sure. In 2020, March of 2020, do we remember that? Those fun days. That's when COVID hit, or, it hit the States anyway. At that time, there was so much anxiety. No one knew what was going on. I still wonder if people know what's going on, but whatever, that's another story. So much anxiety going on. I remember I got an email from Annie Grace that said that drinking alcohol is like pouring gasoline on anxiety. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got enough right now. I don't need any more. So at the same time, in March of 2020 was also when I started my coach certification. And so those two things really together really inspired me to say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do 100 days alcohol free. And basically that's the last time I drank, and I haven't quit drinking. I just haven't felt like it. So that feels good to me. There are a lot of people that want to have that absolute, like, never drinking again, da, da, da. That's all good. Everybody's different. I believe that to my core, that everybody needs to find exactly what it is for them that works. And then since then, I've been able to channel kind of that mental chatter towards other things. And I've faced other challenges, that being, I quit my corporate job, I've started my own business, and that road keeps going. So there'll be other milestones for me to continue to address. And I think that that's important as we continue to grow and evolve, because that's really the point. And I know that the skills that I have learned from just going alcohol free are things that are going to help me on everything else. It's really just, that is how we achieve any goal. So maybe it's stop over drinking, or, going alcohol free, or maybe it is quitting a job or leaving a relationship that's not serving you anymore, whatever it is. Having the skills and the resilience that you build up by addressing these challenges, those skills are transferable to anything else, which I love about this. So it is not just about being alcohol free. Yes, today that is the goal. However, the skills that you learn here can be transferred to other things. So if you are thinking about, if you want to let me know, maybe in the chat, or you can unmute. I'm just curious for you. If you want to let me know for yourself, it doesn't have to be about alcohol free right now, but I want you to start thinking about, and feel free to pipe it in if you want to, but at least start thinking about, what kind of challenges have you faced in your life in the past? What things have you overcome? This is important to be thinking about because there was a point at which you all thought, there's no way I can do this. And you did. And that's really important. So be thinking about that. You've already been able to accomplish this someplace. A lot of my clients will say, I quit smoking. That's a very typical one. And basically that's the same skills. So let's talk about comfort for a second. Everybody thinks that they want comfort. I mean, it seems nice. Let's lay on this nice fuzzy couch, wear a robe, and maybe there's a biscotti and coffee. I don't know what that is, but everybody wants comfort. And there's a good reason for it. There's a sense of control, and we have lower stress and anxiety, and there's a sense that everything is manageable. I mean, I loved going to my grandma's house every Sunday night. It was very predictable. We had the same meal all the time. It's all good, but it was great. I love going for my walks. There's some comfort to that. I'm obviously not a speed walker. I'm a slow walker, but it's enjoyable for me. That's all good. And why is comfort important? Why is comfort so appealing to us? Because of the motivational triad. This is basically how your brain, your primitive brain, is functioning. Because staying the same is comfortable. And here's why. There are 3 things that are going on that your primitive brain is really wired to do. First one is to avoid pain. This is a picture here of a cave. It's like, stay in the cave. If you leave the cave, you're going to get eaten by those saber-toothed tigers. Seek pleasure is the second one. So find the ripe berries on the bush. Remember where that bush is so that you can go back to it. Now, the modern day equivalent is chilled Chardonnay, right? That's seeking pleasure. And then the third one is to conserve energy. The image here represents a well-worn hiking path. There's no debris or anything in the way, like you know exactly which way to go. It doesn't take any energy. You don't have to blaze a new path or anything. In essence, your primitive brain wants you to avoid things that are difficult. And so that's why comfort, staying the same, is comfortable. So comfort, let's talk about that. Comfort is a state of physical ease and freedom from pain or constraint. It's homeostasis, it's predictability, it's rinse and repeat. You know exactly what you're going to get. And, you know, it sounds like a dream in a lot of respects. However, there are huge opportunity costs in comfort. And stick with me here because, you know, we don't want any extreme. There's always something in the middle that's going to be best. So staying in a state of constant comfort is problematic because we are not testing limits. And here's why. Because this is my image of a lion attacking, right? This is obviously a challenge. Now, we don't have a lot of lions attacking us anymore in this day and age, but when you get an email from your boss at, late at night, or maybe your husband says something to you, or partner or kid calls, whatever, those can feel like it's an attack on your nervous system. It can make you feel very nervous. Okay. And so what I'm proposing is, if we think about this and accept that it's really not a lion, like there's an aspect of like talking ourselves off the cliff and recognizing what's really going on here. Is this email from my boss? Is she really mad at me, or am I making that up? Am I catastrophizing a little bit? Is this urge really the end of the world? I mean, I know it feels like it at the time, but what's on the other side of sitting with that urge, again, that gives me freedom from it. So I want to make an argument for, this is my sales pitch for challenges, this whole deck, right? And if you've heard any of my videos before, I'm always advocating for discomfort. Everybody thinks that's so funny. But discomfort is an emotion that I want to encourage in my life. Why? Most people say happy, peace, love, all those good things. That's all great, but that keeps you in the comfort side. Same results. And in order to get new results, you got to do different things. And most of the time, that requires feeling uncomfortable, discomfort. You know, maybe it's slight pain. Maybe it's feeling uneasy or anxious or embarrassed. But choosing to live your life on purpose really mixes things up, and it introduces the possibility of change. Because you're not going to get any change when you stay in the same thing. It's not possible. You already know what the results are. In order to get new results, you have to allow for the discomfort. So, what are the benefits of challenge? There are many benefits of challenge. Hard times stimulate growth and build resistance. I've got an image, a little icon of a arm curl here, because we all know that feeling. Haven't been to the gym in a while. You go back to the gym, you start doing arm curls, and it's like, whoa. But you know that the heavier the weight you pick up, the more you're going to work out your bicep, right? And then after the fact, there's going to be a buildup of lactic acid in your body, and you're going to feel, you know, some people say no pain, no gain. Or, you know, for me, I'm not a big worker outer, so I have a little bit of soreness the next day, and it makes me feel good. Like, oh, that actually did something. Like that was worth the time. Challenges build resistance. And what I mean by that, this is so critical, because that resilience that you have stays with you. And that's what you can utilize when you go after different goals. So resilience is, what does that look like? That looks like having my own back. I know that I can go to the gym, I can lift the weights, I can deal with feeling a little bit sore the next day. I can actually kind of relish it. Like, oh, that's good. That's what resilience is. Resilience with dealing with cravings or urges means I actually was able to sit through that urge. I didn't answer it. I didn't pick up that drink. I didn't have the cookie. And I didn't die. And like proving that to your primitive brain, it sounds funny when I say that, but proving that to your primitive brain is important. Because your primitive brain is screaming back there, you're going to die if you leave the cave. So that's important, that resilience part. It calls for creativity and problem solving. So we always have the opportunity when we are faced with a challenge to either kind of roll over and say, I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to step up and I'm going to figure this out. And that I'm going to figure this out is everything. That means when you drink when you hadn't planned to, you gave into that urge. You look at it the next day and you say, what can I learn from this? I'm going to figure this out. It's just a matter, it's just a matter of keeping moving forward. I continue to put one foot in front of the other. I continue to stand up every time I fall down, and I do it. It's going to happen. To me, that's not anything woo-woo at all. That feels very logical to me. It's just like when I don't know, when I was growing up, I think my mom used to say, you always find your key, like when you're looking for your keys or something, you always find them in the last place you're looking. Well, yeah, of course, because why would you continue to look if you found them, right? This is the same thing to me. This is like, as long as you continue to get up and move forward, you look back and figure out what you can, figure out what those negotiating thoughts were, this will work. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of believing that you can do it. And that's where that building up that resilience comes into place. Benefits of challenges. Other benefits are cultivate gratitude and compassion, once we've gone through challenges of our own, then it is much easier to have compassion for others that are going down that same route. Hopefully you see that in this community. There are a lot of people that give back because we've all been there and know what it feels like, for sure. And there's certainly a sense of camaraderie. We're all in this together. That is definitely what this community stands for. But the biggest reason, the biggest benefit of a challenge is it's about who you become because of the journey. It's about building up that resistance and that trust in yourself, that after you fall down, you have your drinks, whatever it is. The next day, you don't have to beat yourself up. You look back at it and say, oh, now I get it. I was mad at my partner, or I had a stressful day, or I felt uncertain. I felt a little uneasy because I didn't really know these people. Okay, good to know. Now that's something for me to look out for the next time. So this is so important. This is why I think that challenges really are something that we should embrace. It's about who you become because of this journey. Think about all the people that, I mean, it seems crazy to me, but there are a lot of people that don't even drink, that don't have a problem with drinking. They're out there. So they've got their own issues, right? They've got their own challenges. But in some respects, this is the challenge that is in front of us right now. And who do you want to become? You want to become somebody who's more resilient, who has your own back, who can create these skills for yourself so that you can take them and use them other places. So right here, this is actually the framework that I use with my clients. This is from the Life Coach School. It's called the model. And so if we think about current state, status quo, I've made up these two different scenarios. The goal is to become alcohol-free. This person in this case is thinking, drinking helps me avoid my cravings. And that feels comfortable. That's fine. The actions that person takes is drink because I don't trust myself to feel my cravings. I'm worried about them. I'm scared of them. I want to avoid them. I tell myself that I'm just not a person who can handle cravings. And I think about maybe one day I'm going to be able to be alcohol free, but it's not today. I'm not going to do it today, but one day. And the result that is created from all these activities is that this person avoids cravings and remains stuck. Now, I want to contrast this with somebody who's already there. Again, same goal. The goal is to become alcohol free. This person has the thought that discomfort is actually a sign that things are changing. Kind of like I feel when I feel the lactic acids in my arm after I lift weights. I'm like, oh, that did something. That's doing something. This is making a change. Discomfort is a sign that things are changing. I feel discomfort. I bring that in, allow that in. The actions that I take are allow the discomfort of urges and other negative emotions. Remind myself that this is just part of change. This means something different is happening. This is my only chance of getting off this hamster wheel. Focus on the times that I've been successful. Look for learnings whenever I slip up. And the result is I create change for myself by embracing discomfort. Now, this is really important. There is discomfort either way, because the first scenario, the status quo scenario, that person has a goal to become alcohol-free, but remains stuck. And I'm going to argue that they probably are beating themselves up the next day and all that kind of stuff. So it's really important to tell yourself the truth. There's discomfort in staying where you are. Even though it feels comfortable in the beginning, you remain stuck. And there's a reason why all of you people, all of us are here in this community. There's an ambition to become alcohol-free. There's an ambition to make alcohol less substantial in your life. So if there's discomfort either way, which one do you want to choose? So this is important and I want everybody to really tell yourself the truth. Where are you in this stage? Okay, so if there's discomfort either way, there's my argument for discomfort. So I want to talk through a couple strategies that I have that I recommend for how to implement these into your life and really help you get out of your comfort zone. First one is talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Now, not because I'm schizophrenic, okay? But here's what I mean by this is our excuses are coming up all the time. Like in this case, there's no way I can do this. And that's where most of us start. But that is, rather than listening to those excuses, what I'm saying here is be proactive. Choose more wholesome thoughts, more helpful thoughts. Maybe going from there's no way I can do this to I can do this that's pretty extreme, right? So there are methodologies that we can use to get from there's no way to yay. And actually that's a process that I can do another workshop on, but called ladder thinking. And what that looks like is it'll take, if you're currently at, there's no way I can do this, start to cultivate a thought that is a little less bad. So it could be something like, maybe there's a way that I can do this, or others have done this, so it's possible I could do it too. You feel that there's a little bit of a shift there in energy. That makes a difference. So your actions are going to be different and everything else are going to be different when you get out of that hopeless feeling. So it's important to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Don't listen to the excuses. The excuses are going to come up. And we talked about that before. They're coming up from the primitive brain because the primitive brain is just confused. It's trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you in the cave, trying to keep you on that well-worn hiking path. It doesn't mean, it's not trying to sabotage you or anything. It's just confused. And the reason that we have a prefrontal cortex is so that we can make executive decisions. And that will help get you to your goals. Okay, so think about how you can talk to yourself in ways that are more enriching. So, the example that I had on the previous slide with the model was, discomfort is a sign that things are changing. Maybe that's something that you can play around with. Maybe you can play around, and if I can do this, it resonates for you, great. But write some of those down. Write some of those thoughts down that feel good on you. I don't want to hand them to you because the things that feel good for me, it's like trying on a new dress. Like I can give you a dress, something that feels good for me may not fit you very well. So find the dress that you like, find the pants that you like, the shoes, whatever it is. But do it proactively. Write down some thoughts that kind of motivate you, that are helpful to you to get so that you can have them ready at hand for yourself. We talked about this one quite a bit, embrace discomfort. So my coach says that discomfort is the currency for growth. So in other words, rather than laying down your credit card in order to buy some growth, you're going to be willing to feel that discomfort. And stop expecting it to not feel scary. It's going to feel scary because you haven't done it before. And that's perfectly fine. You've got a human brain. Again, that's why I talked about the primitive brain at first. It will feel a little scary at first, but that's okay. Because if you want something different, you got to do something different. And then the third strategy, that's right. That's why I had this little thing on here. So I wanted to, so something for you to consider is how would things be different for you on your alcohol-free journey if you viewed discomfort as a sign that you're on the right track? So often we think that, ooh, that doesn't feel good. I must be doing something wrong. And I want to flip it on its head. Ooh, this doesn't feel good. I'm feeling restless right now. I really want that drink. But by sitting with that discomfort, that means I'm doing something different. That means I'm unwinding this habit. And that means I'm definitely on the right track. So think about that. How could you incorporate that into your own journey? If every time I feel discomfort, that's a sign that I'm on the right track. That's a good one. And then the third strategy I have to share with you is a little more tangible. Okay, so a lot of people will say, yeah, but tell me what to do when I'm feeling this urge. And I have recently discovered tapping, which is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Oh, it's probably on here. I haven't read this book necessarily, but this is something that I just found that I wanted to include in the slides. Here's my selling point for this. I think that this is interesting because it basically combines Chinese acupressure and cognitive behavioral therapy. So what you're doing is you're tapping on these 9 meridian points. And while you're tapping, you're talking to yourself. So it actually ties with the first strategy that I said, talk to yourself more than you listen to your excuses. And there's a ton of stuff online. I can research it a little bit more if anybody's interested. And figure out if I can do a workshop on that. That's fine. But I think it's interesting where in my own journey right now, I'm working on quitting sugar. This is it pops up every now and then. It's like whack-a-mole. But I am doing really well right now. And I'm definitely utilizing tapping in the moment. It really has been helpful for me. There are all sorts of studies that have shown that it reduces stress and lowers cortisol, anxiety, all that kind of good stuff. Good stuff in that it reduces them. Yeah. So that's just something that I would recommend that you check out. And because a lot of the time, what I like to do is be able to incorporate not only strategies, but mindset. And so we've talked about some mindset shifts in there. And then this is more of a tactical strategy, a tactic that you can utilize right in the moment. So I definitely recommend looking into that. Okay, so in summary, I want you to consider inviting challenges to change you. What if you thought about it that way? How would things change? Because there are benefits to challenges. You know, it's totally normal, as with anybody with a human brain, that you're going to want to run away from it. Totally fine. But there are benefits there too. There are benefits to staying with it, to testing your limits, to building your resistance. And the biggest benefit is who you become because of doing that. That is critical. And that is what you take with you for other challenges. And then we also talked through some strategies, well, just in general, how to welcome these challenges when they come. You know, maybe it's not with open arms, but maybe it's not like get it away as quickly as possible. And I just want to invite you to consider that. How can this change for you? I mean, what's possible? Because at the end of the day, if we can't change, if we don't change, we don't grow. And if we don't grow and evolve, are we really living? I don't know. To me, from my perspective, in order to continue to grow, and that's part of what I want. That is why I felt that little nudge so many years ago about there's something just not right here. And now that I've done it, now I know that how much opportunity cost there was in me staying stuck. Because freeing up that mental chatter has really allowed me to do things that I never thought were possible. And that's definitely what I wish for all of you. So that's what I have for my presentation. Are there any questions that I can answer? And I can stop recording if that's better. Let me go ahead and do that. I'll do that. I'll sign off. Thank you all. And if anybody has any questions, pop them in the chat. I'll post this and I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.